Today, we're counting down 5 greater Seattle neighborhoods where subculture still has a visible footprint, from old counterculture corridors to indie music blocks and offbeat art scenes. One neighborhood, near the top, may seem obvious, but the way number 1 pulls everything together is still pretty striking. For this countdown, we're looking beyond polished postcard Seattle and focusing on places where underground music, outsider art, record store history, punk rooms, creative oddities, and late-night neighborhood identity have shaped the streets. Some of these spots are inside Seattle proper, and some feel like self-contained worlds within the larger metro rhythm. The question is not just where subculture happened once, but where the evidence is still visible in landmarks, venues, events, and neighborhood character today. Coming in at number 5, the University District. The U District has long had a student-driven edge, centered around the University of Washington and the energy of the Ave. Its subculture story runs deep, with the legendary Last Exit on Brooklyn coffeehouse opening back in 1967 and becoming part of Seattle's counterculture memory. Record store history matters here too, with Cellophane Square and Fallout Records tied to Sub Pop's early ecosystem, skate culture, and indie scenes. Add in the underground Neptune music vinyl archive, and the U District earns its spot as a place where alternative Seattle history still echoes through storefronts, basements, and campus-adjacent hangouts. At number 4, Ballard. Ballard brings a different kind of subculture energy. One built around live rows, old neighborhood texture, and a music scene that does not need to leave its own streets to feel complete. Ballard Avenue is the anchor, especially with the so-called Ballard trifecta: Tractor Tavern, Sunset Tavern, and Conor Byrne. Those rooms have helped define a local indie, alt-country, and punk circuit, with names like Mudhoney and Fleet Foxes connected to the broader Ballard music story. What gives Ballard weight here is the way the scene feels concentrated. You can move from venue to venue and still feel like you are inside one continuous pocket of Seattle music culture. Number 3 is Georgetown. South of Seattle's central core, Georgetown has the industrial bones and creative rough edges that make it stand apart from more polished nightlife districts. The neighborhood sits near rail lines, the Duwamish River, and Interstate 5. And that working landscape backdrop feeds directly into its punk meets vintage personality. Brick warehouses, art spaces, tattoo shop energy, and the Georgetown Ballroom all help give the area its offbeat identity. The monthly Georgetown Art Attack is a major part of the picture too, turning the neighborhood into a recurring showcase for visual art, handmade culture, and creative experimentation. Georgetown feels less like a scene that was designed and more like one that grew out of leftover industrial space, stubborn local imagination, and a refusal to sand down the edges. At number 2, Fremont. Fremont has leaned into weirdness so openly that the neighborhood's self-proclaimed title, the center of the universe, almost feels less like a joke and more like a civic philosophy. This is the Seattle neighborhood where public oddball art becomes part of daily geography. From the Fremont troll under the bridge to the Lenin statue standing in plain sight. Its counterculture and artist community roots go back well before the tech-era version of Seattle. And that older creative streak still defines the area's reputation. Fremont's subculture is not only about music venues or nightlife. It is about public absurdity, neighborhood mythology, folk and chamber pop associations, and a shared willingness to make the strange feel official. That makes it one of the clearest examples of Seattle's peculiar creative personality. And at number 1, Capitol Hill. If you're talking about Seattle subculture in the broadest sense, music, nightlife, visual art, identity, street life, and countercultural history, Capitol Hill is hard to separate from the center of the conversation. Immediately east of downtown Seattle and north of First Hill, the neighborhood has been a major gathering point for early 90s grunge and punk energy, dense indie rock scenes, and late-night creative culture. The monthly Capitol Hill Art Walk and indie gallery presence add another layer, making the neighborhood more than just a nightlife district. It also carries a long LGBTQ cultural history, which is part of why Capitol Hill has played such a visible role in Seattle's alternative and expressive life. What puts it at number 1 is the combination: music history, art walk culture, punk roots, nightlife density, and a countercultural reputation that has remained one of the strongest in the city. So the countdown lands with the University District at number 5, Ballard at number 4, Georgetown at number 3, Fremont at number 2, and Capitol Hill taking number 1. Each one represents a different version of Seattle area subculture. Record store memory, live music blocks, industrial art space, civic weirdness, and dense countercultural nightlife. And yes, that top spot really does show how many different strands of Seattle's alternative identity can overlap in one neighborhood. What did we miss? Which Seattle area neighborhood, venue, record shop, art space, or late-night corner would have made your personal top 5? If you would have ranked one of these higher, or you think we're sleeping on a spot with a stronger subculture story, drop it in the comments. If you enjoyed this neighborhood deep dive, give the video a like and subscribe for more Seattle area countdowns. And tell us what topic you want next. Music venues, coffee neighborhoods, waterfront spots, hidden arts districts, or a deeper dive into one specific neighborhood.